Hey guys, M2 Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Deluxe Wave 3. Here we have the Turbo, from Power Rangers Turbo, the blue Senturion. And this is a figure that the little child Bryant in me is just like super excited because I always wanted a blue Senturion figure, and I don't think I ever got one when I was a kid. I started really getting out of Power Rangers around Turbo time because I didn't think Turbo was actually very good. I just don't think it was very good at the time. Like, you know, Mighty Morphin I loved at the time. Zeo was cool. Turbo was but I think I was just, because I was getting older and I was just kind of getting out of it. And you could, you know, when you start to get older, you can really see how campy and cheesy it really is, because it can be really bad. But here, the blue Senturion, and I finally have one, and I'm super excited about it, and he's really, really cool. He's stupid expensive, though, because he's a deluxe figure. $33.99 at Target. It's hitting stores now. Is it worth the price? Yeah, kind of, because for me, you know, I always really wanted one. But from an action figure standpoint, should it be $34? I don't think it actually should be. I get it, though. Hasbro said there's a lot of deco to it. There's a lot of unique sculpting that will only work for him and literally no other character. So how many releases can we get of the blue Senturion? I see it as 2. We can get this one, and then we can get one with an eventual motorcycle. Like, it should have come with the motorcycle already. Even if it would have cost like $10 more, do a one-off release or something, I'd have been cool with that. Because there's no way that at the deluxe price they're going to also do a motorcycle, even though Silver is Space Silver Ranger, he comes with a motorcycle. Now granted, that motorcycle probably isn't going to be as detailed as like a blue Centurion's would be, especially since they could just repaint that and release it in every single color for the Power Rangers in Space team. But I would pay more to get a blue Senturion with the motorcycle. That would be really cool. But as it stands, $34. I'm happy to have him. I think the price is too high. Unique sculpting, yes, I get it. I thought he actually came with more accessories than he actually does come with, because it's essentially the same amount of accessories you would see with a normal Power Rangers Lightning Collection figure. But it is what it is. You know, if you can wait for a sale or potentially even clearance, you don't want to pay the $34, I would say go for it. If you're lucky enough to find it at a good price, go for it, because I think it's definitely going to be worth it. Looking at the package, it is windowless. We get some artwork of the blue Senturion there. We see the figure just says Turbo Blue Senturion on the side. It has the same artwork that you see from the front. You can see all the list of all the accessories and everything there. And that's it. So we'll get rid of the box and really focus on the figure. Now, in terms of accessories, he comes with a couple of things. So you see on these legs, I already swapped one out, but he has like these small little sections here. He has swappable pieces, which is kind of cool. So you have like one that's kind of pushed in, and then you could have like a holster version. Now from the show, from what I had seen, not from what I remember, because it was, you know, 25 years ago or whatever, he really only had his weapon holstered on his right leg, but we do have a piece where you could swap it out, and then you can actually have 2 holsters, which wouldn't really be accurate, so I'm not entirely sure why they would have done it that way. It's a cool feature, yes, but if it's not necessary, why spend the money to do it, right? He also has a blast effect for his weapon. He has his weapon, the Synergizer, I think it was called, and it's 3 different forms. So here we have it in its holstered form. As you can see there, it's got the 3 colors on there, blue, yellow, and red. Now, I always question, like, shouldn't it be green, yellow, red? And if you look at YouTube videos of Blue Senturion, the light appears to be a greenish color, but then if you look at other pictures, the bulbs of those lights are straight up blue. So it's kind of odd, right? But anyway, back to the Synergizer. So it can have 3 different modes. So you got its holstered mode, or its regular mode. Then you have the blaster mode, as you can see there, which essentially the blue would fold out and you would have it. But look, there's black paint there, but this handle is not painted black. So I don't know where Hasbro, what happened with that? Like, why isn't this painted black, or why wasn't this all blue? Just get it to match, because now it doesn't really make sense. And then not only that, is you can actually extend this out to, you can have like a sword type piece, or, you know, maybe a cop baton, I guess, and with the nice silver paint there. So that is pretty cool. But again, blue handle there. It is not painted black for whatever reason. I don't know. The blast effect, it can port into the blaster, as you can see there. That's pretty good. And then he has an extra pair of hands. So actually out of the package, he has the fists on, but I went ahead and swapped out his left hand already. But we do get trigger finger hands, and check it out. We got the right hinge on there, so you get the vertical hinge for those trigger finger hands, but the fists do get the standard horizontal hinge. But enough of that. Oh, and he comes with the whistle. Like, I remember him using the whistle. This thing is tiny. Be very, very careful. You're going to lose it. I almost did. So you want to be careful. It's just got some silver paint on there, a little bit of blue. Well, I guess it'd be blue plastic and then silver paint, but it looks pretty good. But again, man, it is tiny. It is tiny, so be very careful with that. So enough of that. Let's take a closer look at the blue Senturion. Okay, so in for the closer look at the blue Senturion, and the helmet looks pretty good. No issues there. It says police on the side, police on the other side. It's got the little antenna. It's got the different lights there, a little bit of gold paint at the top. For that light, those are actually gold paint, where everywhere else it's actually translucent plastic added on. So that's kind of the other thing, right? There's translucent plastic everywhere, so it's you know, they're independent of the actual sculpt. So like the blue, yellow, the blue and the red here, the red siren light there. Those are painted though, but these are all like separate pieces that had to glue in. So it's a lot of stuff to this figure, but even still, I don't like the price at $34.99. Bunch of deco hits with a little bit of lights and things like that, because the blue Senturion is essentially like a robot. But he does have a lot of paint apps, I would say more than we would typically see with Power Rangers Lightning Collection, because there's really not a whole lot of paint that they could do for the Ranger figures. You know, they just have the suit and they could do that, and they're not crazy amount of different color variations in their suits, whereas something like this, you do get quite a bit, you know, red in there, silver and black, blue, a little bit of gold there for the badge. But yeah, just it all looks really good. You get the red, yellow, and blue, like the lights there on his arm. All kinds of good stuff. Now, I know that people were telling me, like, be careful, it's very stiff, it could break, and things like that. So be careful with your figure. I didn't have to warm mine up, but you want to work it around a little bit just to make sure. Now, one thing that looks weird to me, and he seems to kind of stand a little bit off, and I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like this left leg doesn't go as high as the right leg, and that kind of bothers me. And I don't know if it's just me, but, you know, it's just something that I noticed. And it doesn't really have a drop down like it feels like it kind of does, but it's just because, like, they're, like, connected onto the same piece. As you can see, you know, they move together. So be careful with that. Don't try to pull it down, because you might break it. So just a heads up on that. But yeah, looking at the figure, so good. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. To kind of demonstrate how you would remove these pieces, you just kind of get your fingernail up under there, and you can just kind of pull it out, and then you have the insides of his leg there, and then you can put the other one in there, and it actually has it labeled on there, L for left, and then the other one is an R for right. So you can pop that in there, and you can have the holster. But again, in the show, he only had it on the one side, his right leg, not his left leg. But just a heads up, that's something that you can do. See, it doesn't look like you can see more of that black piece than this side. That's going to drive me crazy. But anyway, it holds in there quite nicely. Again, you get your fingernail out there, kind of under it. And I like to do it from the back of the leg, because it's a little bit easier to get your finger in there to do that. And then you can put this piece right back on in. Easy peasy, like so. So now let's go ahead and check out his articulation, which is actually pretty good. Okay, so blue Senturion, his articulation. So the head is on a dumbbell joint, as you can see there. If you try to pull it back too much, you're going to pop it off. But that gives you some really good pivot motion and things like that. You can get a full rotation. Excuse me. Looking up though is a challenge, as you can only look up that much. Looking down is a challenge because he can't really look down. Unfortunately, so there's that. You get full rotation in there, of course. Oh, I forgot to mention this silver on the collar. There's a little bit of blue splatter on there, but it's not terrible. There is a butterfly joint in here, but it is ever so slightly, and it's inside the chest, so there isn't a whole lot. You just kind of get some motion with the arm, like so. So just a heads up on that. This shoulder pad piece is kind of floating around. As you can see, it's kind of held in on the inside there, but it moves well with the arm. So with even with it there, you can get the shoulder to go out crazy amount, which is awesome. Full rotation in there, and it moves with it. There is an upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow that is pinless, by the way, and you get that much bend. The elbow is a little bit weird because you have that gray piece, and look how ugly kind of the inside of that is. But once you hinge it a little bit, it's very well hidden. It really isn't so much an issue. It's just when it's not, you can see it, and it kind of sucks. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. Again, the trigger finger hands have the vertical hinge, but they kind of sit too far into the wrist that it's hard to actually get the hinge to work. Another thing I want to point out, the silver on the wrist is a nice touch. Unfortunately, we didn't get silver right at the ankle, whereas in the show, the actual suit, you know, had a silver band around the ankle. We did not get that. We get a diaphragm joint on Blue Senturion, so he can pivot to his left that much. He can pivot to his right that much. You can go back on that that diaphragm cut like so. You can come forward on that diaphragm cut like so. Not terrible, right? But here's a really cool thing, and it's very well hidden in here. There's an ab crunch, the inverted ab crunch that's in there. Now going back, you don't get a huge amount going with it, so you can go that much. But coming forward, we do get a little bit. So total forward with the ab crunch in that diaphragm, we can get Blue Senturion to move down this much. Keep in mind, this guy is a robot, so you know, how much could he really move? I mean, I think he's like a futuristic robot, so you'd think they would have the technology figured out by then. But just a heads up on that. You get the swivel at the diaphragm cut. Legs go out. That, see, you have to like work these blue legs inside the hip so you can get the leg to hinge. So just, again, be very careful with that. But he can spread his legs that far apart. He can't kick forward that much, and it kind of kicks out a little bit and works. It's all the way around. That's strange how that worked, but just kicking forward that much, and then you can work it like insane amount. It's kind of crazy. So the leg does go back like an insane amount, unnaturally so, but robot, maybe it works. There is the upper thigh cut in there, but the design and the angle of this blue will not allow for a full swivel, but you do get enough swivel that you would need. We have a double jointed knee. Oh, here's where I didn't warm it up and it's a little stiff. Careful with these. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Scary. So that's where you're going to want to heat it up, is on those knees. So double jointed knee gives you that much bend. The knee pad looks pretty cool. Actually, I like the way that looks. It works out quite well. But again, heat it up because that was scary as hell. So don't go rushing in trying to bend that knee because yikes. Now boot swivel. Looks like there should be a swivel at the boot. There is not. But look at that cut right there. You get a swivel right at the top of the ankle. So that would have been easy for them to paint that silver, and they did not. And then you have the foot. So hinges down, well, hinges up tiny bit, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So there is the Blue Senturion, and I think he actually moves pretty well. I just feel like the legs are just slightly, one is like longer than the other and throws it off a little bit, unfortunately. But damn, doesn't he look good? Okay, and for some size comparisons here, we have Andros, the In-Space Red Ranger, and the reason why I brought him out is it's essentially going to be a very similar body mold when it comes time for Hasbro to start releasing Power Rangers Turbo figures, so that way you could see him next to a Ranger and see kind of what the size difference. And you can see is basically around the same size, a little bit taller, but I really want to focus on these two because I think these two get associated quite often, or at least in my mind. When I was a kid, I was like, damn it, I want a Blue Senturion figure, I want a Phantom Ranger figure. And here, lo and behold, as I'm 37 and old as hell, 25 years after the season, I have them, and I love it. And I'm happy. So this is like really cool. Really, really cool. Like when this was announced, I was like, oh my god, Phantom Ranger. And now this one, Blue Senturion, oh my god. And now I have them in hand, and it's very cool. They both came out of the Turbo season, even though this one says In-Space Phantom Ranger. That is not correct. Although he was in Power Rangers in Space, so I guess that kind of works. There was, I think, the season finale of Power Rangers in Space. These two were actually seen together fighting alongside in some planet somewhere when all of the evil forces and everything was cleared out from the universe because Andros destroyed Zordon's tube, which killed Zordon but removed all the evil from a bunch of people, but not everyone because there was still evil to come because the show still went on for however many more additional seasons anyway. Look at these two. This is just really cool. They're about the same height, about the same size. And I just absolutely love it. So if you're probably around my age, you know, grew up watching Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, this was probably something that you wanted as a kid too. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just me. But the fact that I have it now makes me very happy. I don't mind paying the $34 because I want it. That's the price. I want it now. I don't want to wait. But again, I do still think it is a little overpriced, but I understand that there's a lot. It's all 100% unique sculpt. They're not going to be able to use it for anything else in any way. And there's, you know, so many different pieces, a lot of deco hits. I get it, but still kind of sucks. But it's an awesome figure. But anyway, you guys let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this blue Senturion figure? Is it one that you're going to pick up? Remember, it's hitting Target stores now. Or are you going to wait for a lower price? You're just going to skip it altogether. Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU Collective. And as always, thank you for watching.